Most people destroy their dreams before life ever gets the chance to test them. They stop believing the moment things become difficult. They doubt themselves, quit too early, and settle for less than they are capable of becoming. But achievement belongs to those who continue believing long after failure, fear, and rejection appear. Dream boldly, believe completely, achieve relentlessly. That is how powerful lives are built. Chapter 1. Stop thinking small. Your life is too small because your thinking is too small. That is the truth. Not your lack of talent. Not your lack of intelligence. Not your lack of opportunity. Your vision is weak. You have trained yourself to expect less from life. Less success. Less discipline. Less confidence. Less greatness. And once a person accepts a small vision, they begin building a small reality around it. Small habits, small risks, small goals, small effort. Everything shrinks. Listen carefully. Your life will never grow beyond the size of your vision. Never. If you think small, you act small. If you act small, you stay small. And if you stay small long enough, regret becomes permanent. Most people are not destroyed by failure. They're destroyed by fear before they even begin. Fear of rejection, fear of embarrassment, fear of criticism, fear of failing publicly. So instead of chasing greatness, they lower the dream until it feels safe. That is dangerous, because comfort is slowly killing their potential. Every time you avoid risk, you train weakness. Every time you play small, you reduce your confidence. Every time you doubt yourself, you disconnect from your future. And eventually, you stop believing you are capable of anything extraordinary. That is how average lives are created, not through lack of ability, through lack of belief. Look around carefully. Most people are sleepwalking through life. Wake up, go to work, complain, get distracted, repeat. No purpose, no ambition, no obsession, just survival. But you are not designed only to survive. You are designed to build, create, grow, achieve. There is something powerful inside you waiting to be activated, but it cannot grow inside a limited mindset. A weak vision creates weak action. This is why dreaming matters. Dreaming creates direction. People without dreams drift through life emotionally. They react instead of leading. They follow instead of building. They settle instead of evolving. But people with vision move differently. They think differently. They speak differently. They carry energy differently. Because a powerful dream changes your identity before success even arrives. That is why you must stop asking small questions. Stop asking, what if I fail? Start asking, what if I actually become who I were meant to be? That question changes everything. Because the moment your vision expands, your behavior begins changing with it. You start taking action. You start thinking long-term. You stop wasting energy on meaningless distractions. Vision creates focus, and focus creates power. Understand this clearly. Nobody achieves greatness accidentally. Every powerful life started as an idea inside somebody's mind. Every business, every invention, every transformation, first came the vision. That is why protecting your mind matters. Because the world will constantly try to shrink your ambition. People will project their fear onto you. They will call your dream unrealistic. They will mock your discipline. They will question your goals. Why? Because your ambition reminds them of their excuses. Weak people become uncomfortable around focused people. Never let limited people define your limits. Read that again in your mind. Never let limited people define your limits. You must learn to think beyond your current environment, because your current reality is not your final reality. Where you are now is temporary. But if your thinking remains weak, your future will remain weak too. This is why successful people obsess over mindset, because they understand one truth. The mind always moves before the body. If you cannot see greatness internally, You will never build greatness externally. That is why visualization matters. That is why belief matters. That is why dreaming matters. Your dream is not childish. Your dream is instruction. It is showing you the direction your life wants to grow. But dreams without action become fantasy. So you must combine vision with discipline. Dream powerfully. Work relentlessly. That combination changes lives. Too many people wait for confidence before taking action. But confidence is built through movement. Not waiting. Not wishing. Movement. You become stronger by acting despite fear. And every time you move toward your vision, your identity expands. You stop seeing yourself as weak. You stop seeing yourself as average. You begin seeing possibility. That internal shift is everything. Because once your identity changes, your standards change. You stop tolerating laziness. You stop tolerating excuses. You stop accepting a mediocre future. Now your actions begin matching your ambition. That is transformation. Most people never experience this because they spend their entire lives shrinking themselves to fit their environment. But powerful people do the opposite. They expand themselves until the environment can no longer contain them. That is what you must do. Expand your thinking. Expand your standards. Expand your discipline. Expand your vision for your life. Stop preparing for average outcomes. Prepare for greatness. Not arrogance. Not fantasy. Greatness through discipline. Greatness through focus. Greatness through consistency. Because your future is waiting on the other side of bigger thinking. Never forget this. Your life will never rise higher than your vision for it. So dream bigger. Think and refuse to apologize for your ambition. Because the people who achieve extraordinary lives are usually the people who first had the courage to imagine them. You stopped shrinking your future to fit your fears. Now it is time to develop the belief required to keep moving when results are invisible and doubt begins attacking your mind. Chapter 2. Believe before results appear. Most people stop believing too early. That is why they never achieve anything extraordinary. They believe when things are easy. Believe when motivation is high. Believe when progress is visible. But the moment struggle appears, belief disappears. And without belief, discipline collapses. Listen carefully. Your future will be tested long before it is rewarded. That is the price of growth. You will work hard and see no results. You will sacrifice and feel unnoticed. You will stay committed while life remains unchanged. That phase breaks weak people, because weak people need constant proof. Proof that they are improving. Proof that they are winning. Proof that the effort matters. But powerful people understand something different. Results are delayed. Success is built in silence long before it becomes visible. That is why belief matters. Not after success. Before success. You must believe before the world gives you evidence. That is the difference between dreamers and achievers. Dreamers get excited. Achievers stay committed. Dreamers depend on emotion. Achievers depend on conviction. And conviction becomes powerful during difficult seasons. Because difficult seasons attack the mind first. Doubt enters quietly. Maybe this is not working. Maybe I am wasting my time. Maybe I'm not capable. That voice destroys millions of people every year. Not because the dream was impossible. Because they listened to doubt longer than they listened to purpose. You must learn to protect your belief. Because your belief controls your behavior. When belief becomes weak, effort becomes weak. When effort becomes weak, progress disappears. Everything starts internally. That is why self-belief is not optional. It is necessary. You cannot build a powerful life while constantly doubting yourself. Understand this clearly. Confidence is not born from success. Confidence is built through repeated action despite fear. Every time you continue despite uncertainty, your mind becomes stronger. Every time you show up despite doubt, your identity changes. That is how belief grows. Not through words, through evidence created by discipline. Most people wait to feel confident before taking action. That is backwards. Action creates confidence. Movement creates belief. You become stronger by continuing when your emotions tell you to stop. That is the real battle, not against the world, against your own mind, because your mind will constantly search for reasons to quit. It will magnify obstacles, magnify fear, magnify temporary failure. Why? Because comfort wants safety, but growth requires discomfort. And the moment you decide to pursue something meaningful, discomfort becomes part of your daily life. Rejection, delay, uncertainty, criticism, all of it is normal. The problem is not the struggle. The problem is that most people interpret struggle as failure. That is why they stop too early. They think, if this was meant for me, it would be easier. No, greatness is difficult on purpose. The difficulty filters out weak commitment. Only disciplined people survive long enough to win. That is why belief must become stronger than emotion. You cannot allow temporary feelings to control permanent decisions. Some days you will feel motivated. Other days you will feel exhausted. Continue anyway. Some days you will feel confident. Other days you will question everything. Continue anyway. Because consistency matters more than emotion. Never forget that. Consistency matters more than emotion. The people who change their lives are usually the people who learn how to continue without emotional rewards. That is real maturity. Anybody can work when they feel inspired. Very few can work when the excitement disappears. And that is exactly where transformation begins. You must stop depending on external validation. Stop waiting for people to believe in you first. Most people will not understand your vision in the beginning. That is normal. The world usually doubts people before it respects them. So stop seeking permission. Stop explaining your dreams to people who abandon their own. Protect your energy. Protect your focus. Protect your belief. Because belief creates endurance. And endurance creates achievement. Look at every successful person carefully. Before the recognition, before the money, before the success, there was belief. Quiet belief. Unseen belief. Unrewarded belief. They kept going before results appeared. That is why they eventually succeeded. Not because they were fearless, because they refused to quit during invisible seasons. You must develop that same mentality. A mentality that says, I will continue whether results appear today or not. That mindset changes everything, because now your actions are no longer controlled by temporary outcomes. Now your identity is built on discipline, and disciplined people become unstoppable over time. This is why your environment matters. If you surround yourself with negativity, your belief weakens. If you surround yourself with distraction, your focus weakens. Protect your mind daily. Feed it strength. Feed it purpose. Feed it vision. Your future depends on what you repeatedly allow into your mind. And remember this, the world responds differently to people who believe in themselves. Why? Because belief changes posture, changes energy, changes decisions, changes consistency. People with belief move differently. They stop hesitating, stop shrinking, stop apologizing for ambition. Now, they act with intention. That energy attracts opportunity, but it all starts internally. Everything begins with belief. So when progress feels slow, believe anyway. When nobody supports you, believe anyway. When doubt attacks your mind, believe anyway. Because belief is the bridge between dreaming and achieving. Dreams begin the journey. Belief sustains the journey. Discipline completes the journey. And the people who achieve greatness are usually the people who believed long enough for reality to catch up with their vision. You learn to think bigger. You learn to believe before results appear. Now it is time to eliminate the habits, distractions, and behaviors silently destroying your future. Chapter 3. Remove the habits that destroy your future. Your dreams are not dying because you lack potential. Your dreams are dying because your habits are weak. That is the truth most people avoid. They talk about success, talk about goals, talk about transformation, but their daily behavior is destroying everything they claim to want. Listen carefully. Your future is built by what you repeatedly do, not what you occasionally say, not what you temporarily feel. What you repeatedly do. Daily habits create your identity. If your habits are weak, your future becomes weak. If your habits are disciplined, your future becomes powerful. Everything compounds. That is why small decisions matter more than dramatic promises. 1 hour wasted every day becomes years destroyed. One distraction repeated daily becomes a weaker mind. One excuse repeated long enough becomes a lifestyle. Most people underestimate how much damage bad habits create over time. Scrolling endlessly, sleeping without purpose, avoiding difficult work, living emotionally instead of intentionally. These habits slowly poison ambition. And the dangerous part is this. Destructive habits feel harmless in the moment. That is why people stay trapped. Comfort always feels safe at first, but comfort creates weak people. The world today is designed to distract you. Notifications, entertainment, short-term pleasure, instant gratification. Everything is competing for your attention. And distracted people never achieve greatness. Never. Because achievement requires energy, focus, consistency. You cannot build a powerful future while constantly feeding weak habits. Understand this clearly. Your habits are either building your dream or destroying it. There is no neutral. Every day, you are becoming stronger or weaker, more disciplined or more distracted, closer to your future or farther from it. That is why self-awareness matters. You must become brutally honest about what is ruining your potential. Stop lying to yourself. You already know what needs to change. You know the habits wasting your time. You know the routines making you weak. You know the excuses holding you back. The problem is not awareness. The problem is action. Most people want transformation without sacrifice. But discipline always requires removal. Some habits must die. Some environments must change. Some people must lose access to your energy. That is part of growth. Weak people avoid these decisions because they fear discomfort. But strong people understand something powerful. Temporary discomfort creates long-term freedom. Read that again mentally. Temporary discomfort creates long-term freedom. The discipline to wake up early creates freedom. The discipline to train creates confidence. The discipline to focus creates opportunity. Everything valuable requires structure. This is why routines matter. Your morning routine matters. Your environment matters. Your daily standards matter. Because success is not an event. It is a system. And systems are built through repetition. That means you must stop depending on motivation. Motivation is unreliable. Some mornings you will feel inspired. Other mornings you will feel tired. Discipline must continue anyway. That is the difference between average people and high performers. Average people act based on mood. Disciplined people act based on standards. Standards change lives. When your standards rise, your behavior rises. You stop tolerating laziness. You stop tolerating distraction. You stop tolerating excuses. Now your habits begin matching your goals. That is when real transformation starts. Most people are trying to change their future while protecting the habits destroying it. That contradiction keeps them stuck. You cannot build confidence while living without discipline. You cannot achieve greatness while feeding weakness daily. Eventually, your habits become your identity. A distracted person becomes known for inconsistency. A disciplined person becomes known for reliability, and identity shapes destiny. This is why small wins matter. Waking up on time matters. Finishing what you start matters. Keeping promises to yourself matters. Because every disciplined action sends a message to your mind. I'm becoming stronger. That internal trust is powerful. The moment you trust yourself, your confidence changes. Now you stop hesitating. Stop doubting. Stop procrastinating. Because disciplined habits create mental clarity. And mental clarity creates momentum. Momentum changes everything. Once disciplined habits become automatic, progress accelerates. You think better, work better, decide better, live better, all because your daily behavior improved. Never underestimate the power of repeated action. A weak habit repeated daily can ruin your future. A strong habit repeated daily can completely rebuild your life. That is why your environment matters so much. If you surround yourself with distraction, weakness grows. If you surround yourself with discipline, strength grows. Protect your focus. Protect your time. Protect your energy like your future depends on it. Because it does. Most people spend years searching for secrets while ignoring the obvious truth. Success is built through disciplined routines repeated consistently over time. Not magic, not luck, not shortcuts. Daily discipline. Again and again and again. So remove the habits weakening your mind. Remove the distractions stealing your energy. Remove the excuses destroying your momentum. Remove the comfort addiction keeping you average. And replace them with structure. Purposeful mornings. Focused work, daily repetition, intentional living, because your habits decide your future. Never forget that. Your habits decide your future. You dreamed bigger. You believed before results appeared. You removed the habits weakening your future. Now you must learn how to stay focused when life becomes painful, uncertain, and difficult. Dreams mean nothing without belief. Belief means nothing without action. And action means nothing without endurance. Most people spend their entire lives wishing for a better future while repeating the same weak habits every day. But you're no longer that person. You now understand that greatness is not luck. It is discipline. It is focus. It is persistence. It is continuing when fear says stop. So dream bigger than your current reality. Believe in yourself before the world gives you permission. Remove the habits destroying your future. Stay focused when life becomes difficult. And keep moving until achievement becomes unavoidable. Do not shrink your goals to fit your comfort zone. Expand your discipline to match your potential. Dream boldly. Believe completely. Achieve relentlessly. Now close this video. Take action and become the person your future depends on.